I've been told by my deceased mother before she died, she was 100, nearly 100, and when I went to her orphanage home where she was being looked after, she'd lost her power of walking basically, real, and she'd been brain damaged by the doctor before she went, but she'd recovered enough when she recovered from brain damage. They thought wires were in, smashed up the white cells, but the brain just sorted itself out, and she remembered quite a lot. And I went in there when I didn't get all of what she remembered, because I had no idea. But apparently she'd been to Mars with Hitler and all sorts of things, but that's a crime to say that, but apparently she had, or she said she had. Well, she was an old lady. And the other thing she found, I asked her how the flying saucers that Hitler used had. And we discussed the engine he used, and I was working on that anyway, without realising it. And she thought she was indicating that I was on the right track. It was a carnivore with some of the water inside it. Well, she's not technical, so it's probably deuterium water, and the carnivore is what got here. I had no idea. She had no idea how we turned and knew what it was. The other thing she knew about was the actual motor that drove them along. The engine was for the power, electrical power, which was a deuterium engine. It's quite massive. It's kilowatts quite easily. When the machine is got big to take the power, obviously. I don't know how to start. I think it was virtually in the source, so the coil went around the outside, something like that. I don't know how to start. So it's pretty obvious that the circular shape works with that. And the engine was actually, she said, a crossed electric magnetic field. Well, everybody thinks, well, that's radiation. But it's got I went to where I worked at the Alpha Laboratory. I did ask about this, and they said it was aperture synthesis, which is done. So there's nothing new about it. But I think it's quite within Maxwell seriousness about it. It may have been discovered before by other people, but there it is. It's the motor principle basically. It's a capacitor plate, two capacitor plates, and a coil each side, and the field of is an AC, is alternating fields, magnetic and electric, because they're in phase. And remember, the resonance circuit, they're out of phase. They're not in the same phase, but with the phase, with the radiators are in phase. And the electric field is an AC current. It's basically a displacement current, which is a current, AC current, which is a current, and that with the magnetic field, which is at the same time, it actually acts as a force. It's a dielectric pump. It's on my webpage, dielectric pump, and it can be used to pump air or water or something like that. And it'd probably work on metals as well. Property would be a conductor for different air when it comes to use for that anyway. But the electric pump works for gases and water. Water and dielectric fluids like petrol, it's probably not got to get spark in it. And when in free space, it works as well. And I don't, when it's free space, I don't understand it, but it's not exactly, I suppose it's radiation, and you get the radiation pressure, because radiation pressure, it depends, it is quite low, it's Poynting's vector, and so it's E cross H, and you can make it quite easily. And this is the crude version I made here. This is crude. It's a pretty circuit there, and copper plate there, and there's a coil down the outside, single coil, which we've got. And this I'm not tying. There's cardboard inside there. And the force will be this way, not this way, either one of these. And the force direction depends on the phase of the with that's which is sort of shown around is. So they're fed separately from a generator, and alternating current, and in Hitler's day it would have been a generator of some sort, kind of mechanical thing. And if these transducers, which is over there, produces the power, and then you have to have the thing balanced. It has to be the right phase and right amplitude. And the impedance of tree space about 300, I think it is, 300 ohms. So you have to get the current of the voltage right. So you have to have the E field. The E field is this way, and then there's the magnetic field that way. So that's what it is. And if I could get a chance, I might. Well, I brought a balance to somebody, and when he realised what I was doing, we didn't like it. But I can't get that balance. That's what it is. So there are two wires, and so other experimenters quite happy to carry on with that. And of course, I'm an old man now. they keep telling me I'm younger than I am. It's nonsense. Well, a few years ago I looked about 16, and they wondered why. They poisoned me like old, and that they did it because they actually thought I was young and said I was old. And I didn't know. So they poisoned me. They say these effects of old age may disappear as they stop poisoning me. It's to do with because we're too many living cells have got left because they killed themselves. They poisoned, but just murder really. There's no reason for it. I mean, some people lived hundreds. They didn't want me to live hundreds of years. Well, pretty well anyway. We kill anyway. But it's really rotten things to do. I'm dying now. So 2 o'clock they killed me, and they finally killed me. And I was not doing anything wrong. I was helpless to live in London. And they just attacked me. I think I did say things that got people's backs up, that upset things, which is what I'm doing now, and so I deserve it. And basically, I didn't realise that was any different from anybody else at all. I know an old man, and they poisoned me to make sure I was old. It's pretty rotten thing to do. I'm not particularly angry because I am old, so I was expecting it. In fact, I'm much older than they think I am. I go back to 1973, and so I'm about 90, so, but I'm still, I look about 40, I say. But I'm an old man now, that's what I've done, so I'm old. I've been told by the psychopath who given these injections that I actually reduce in age. They actually did it. They wanted me to say I was 30, so I went back to work and punished me for it. But I am actually older than that. There's nothing I can do about it. It's just a strange event. I don't know. And I didn't know any different. I was in bed in hospital with a chest pain, which is actually something they poisoned me with, given chest pain. And because I started wearing out, so they put me in there. And they're clever poisoning people, clever. I don't want to do anything. And I was in this bed, and this man next to me, he was the same age as me, 70 or so, and he was very, very ill. And so I wasn't like him. And that was the problem. So I didn't realise that when I went to hospitals with various minor things and so my age, when I was 56, but 56 is all wizened and old. And I didn't know. So they poisoned me to make me old. That's not sensible. I regard that as an atrocity. And much I can go about it, but that's what it was. And I can't do anything about it because I'm old. And the doctors seem to be able to do that without any I must have been maybe it's a court order or something like that. So legal, the judge. But I had no idea what was going on. And it appears to me they're trying to kill me. They don't want to live forever. Well, nobody does. And well, I think my mother was similarly poisoned her too. Well, she did try to kill the Queen, which I'm not interested in that at all. I regard her as a relative of her. I was brought up with a family who are related to the Queen, but when my mother married a man who was related to the Queen, but I'm not his son. I don't think I'm Hitler's son either. I was in Hitler's army before the war. I don't think I was in relation to Hitler. I mean, they actually changed the shape of my face to make me look like Hitler, but I'm not. I'm not related to Hitler. This goes back. They've used me as a scapegoat, and they scarred my face, all sorts of stuff. It's all wartime garbage, really, and it was British propaganda. It's pretty awful, and I think they're going to attack Europe again, and just because Europe's getting united and organised, and they're attacking it, trying to balkanise it. Well, they're essentially balkanising Europe again. They'll go around making speeches about independence and all that, and they fear Europe because they fear Hitler, and I don't think any European thinks like that. Most of them hate Hitler, so they don't want him back. And I'm not Hitler. I'm not related to him. I don't know, but I think when I was in Germany, in Dusseldorf in 1954, I was told that Hitler was actually died in Salzburg in 1953. It was even before I get that. And he's not related, but I knew that. And I've been there. And I was much younger. I was much younger than I was with a young woman, and I had no idea I was an old man. No idea. But they poisoned me just to make sure I died, which is not nice. And everything in Britain's poisonous anyway. So. And I can't get into the country. They've really blocked everything. And they're really nasty lot. Basically, don't want to do anything. I'm just telling people what evil people they are. I can't do anything. I'm not an army. Got no money, got no guns, and I was beaten up by a police officer. They kicked me in the leg, and no one else they did. But it was I had difficulty lifting one left leg. Getting old man, they poisoned me, but sure I was old, and of course got old anyway. But so triggered old age, which is not. My hands are fading, they're all fading. And the people who are watching these signals from me for the last 5 years all have noticed that I'm getting old, and it is the poison. And well, I very much doubt it will reverse quite poisons, permanent damage. They poisoned me so badly, it's an injury, and they also, because the British are such scum, this woman who was successful in the Soviet Union and in a communist country, and she was toxic, she was very happy and very pleased. She was doing well in the communist system, and in this country they just came in and see what the enemies were like, and they smashed her up because she was so. Well, you see, they behaved differently. They thought she was a prima donna, which well, she was. She was actually top. She was an Olympic champion, what she would be. They murdered her. And I think they killed her. So that's Britain for you. So nobody of any right mind from going anywhere near Britain. They're mad. They're murderers and all babbling Baptists and raving about Jesus, going and killing people. Dreadful place. And well, the Muslims are like the only safe people around now. But the Americans are persuaded the Muslims are dangerous. But well, the Christians are Americans. I was kind of. They talk about the West. Well, the West is a geographical area, and this is the West, I know this. And Germany is also a Western country, as is, I think the West extends from the Urals, the steppe of the Urals, to what's it called? Portugal is, that's the West, it's that part of Europe. And America's a place. So, and well, that's how it goes. And Britain is not really part of the West. It's an island off the coast, and it's totally different. It's a savage place full of mad people. You know, they're just nothing blue robes and dance about, but they don't know. And they go around killing people with samurai swords. It's a dreadful place. Madness it is. You can't do anything about it. They think they're doing, well, they're brought up to it, and they believe what they're doing, but they're murderers over there. And I come from a different age, different culture, and well, I'm on the way up. They don't care. Don't give a damn. And so far, they come to the house sometimes, but they never undress. But they don't come in. Fortunately, they haven't broken the door down. And they can get in during the day and not here, and can look around, sniff around, and I don't know what they do. I could get a lock change, but that wouldn't stop them. They'd get in. And the two of them are coming tomorrow. They call one as a social worker, with mellifluous names, and was actually a murderer, and he had an assistant, you know, who was another murderer, and they say they want to move my frontal lobe in order to make me go to work, which is the cure for going to work. Well, they won't accept that I'm the age I am, and so there's not much I can do about it, because I'm that age, and I had birth certificates going back to 1942, and I have a role for excess of being one I remember things before the war. So maybe I'm a reincarnation, that's for sure, I might accept that. But going to work will be extremely difficult for me, because I've not done it for a long time. And I took early retirement and after that, which I did have. I've lost half my heart, and I'm quite weak. I don't know what's going on. I actually died in 1999, and so I had a transplant. I don't know what happened, but there's no scar here, so I don't know what happened at all. But it is possible, and so I should be left alone, really, and left in peace, and do my own thing here, do this work, which is that's what I work. They took out about, I banged up in about 20 minutes, and the transfusion has taken 6 years. I've got somebody in America who's interested in having it, and I might get paid if it works, which is probably, so far it's only worked once, it hasn't worked again, and I haven't tried it very often, and I think some people came in and modified it in some way to make it work as it should do. They thought it was a transformer, it's a valve, but that's not what it is. The transfuser is kept in parallel to the thing, so it's different, and they maxed it up. So, and they had no understanding what they were doing, and I don't think they've made massive modifications. So I think they did whatever they thought it worked. So, but they have that right. They have no right to come in and do that. They don't know what they're doing. And they think they do, you know, because people. Well, I had a lecturer coming over. They said it's well made, so we could say that's the sort of thing they do if it's workmanship. Don't care what you, don't care what he does. And he hates Hitler. And he's very angry, actually. I can see the expression. He's actually quite angry. And it's one of those things. And it's unpleasant because he hates Hitler. Probably his family was injured by Hitler. And that's the same with Kim. His father suffered all his life from a spinal injury, a bullet in his spine. And so does my cousin's father. And so they hate Hitler as a result, which is not rational, but it is the reason. And I'm not giving support to it. I'm trying to use what was this enemy they had. He's died now, so we never really use his technology at all. And maybe they didn't understand it, but they don't want to. You know, they've got some superstition about using the enemy technology. The work of the devil. It's not true. Technology is technology. Americans quite happy to copy it. I think I submitted a design like this when I worked for NASA, and they just threw it out. I think I actually made it work, but that was it. They just know what I was talking about. I couldn't do anything. So they designed rockets instead. Quite successful rockets. A rocket motor, and the engine is the combustion chamber. It's interesting. The engine is both separate. And it's an electric motor that uses the motor principle. Simple. That's what it is. And if I could get a sensitive balance, I might have a mental thrust. But I have to kick the power, the actual oscillator, there's a simple oscillator on the board on here, and attach the wires to that rather than have a separate one, because you can have momentum transfer. So it's different. And you can get the oscillators. So I might have to do that one day. So it's not quite the same as a lifter. I've no idea how the lifter works. Madness. No idea. It's a complete mystery, the lifter is. And people think that apparently they have made lifters that have the power to get on them and they can lift. Madness. No idea how they do. Asymmetric capacity. I've seen them work, and I'm amazed. I have no idea how they work. And the theory I had was actually to do with virtual particles. And it's not the same as Maxwell or Tesla, it's virtual particles. And in space, we've got virtual particles which appear and disappear all the time. And positive and negative as well, I don't know what they are. And they don't separate, they do separate, but they're not real particles. They give them proper world mass. And if you have two spheres like this, Gauss, if they're the same polarity, they repel. And if they're opposite polarity, they retract. Well, you can explain that by the concentration of these virtual particles between and outside the spheres. If you have a sphere here and both positively charged, the concentration of vertical particles in virtual particles is higher in between. So the repulsion is caused by these banging on the spheres. Same the other way around. That's the theory. And depletes it material. So that's the idea. So that was the idea. Virtual particles. And the lifter is probably the same. It's got a small capacitor, big capacitor, and the field, the virtual particles miss the bottom one somehow, so you get asymmetric force. And I haven't actually never worked that out, but that sounds like it. And so it could be used as a propulsion system in outer space, where there's no atmosphere because it works outside the atmosphere. Virtual particles, I think, in the atmosphere. And all it is, obviously, it does take power, but the power curve is correct, and it must get the momentum from somewhere. But I think this works basically the same way. It's virtual particles that are moving up. In between here, there's virtual particles, and you get slightly polarised by the positive negative plates, and the magnetic field then pushes them out, and then they disappear. So there's no waste. As I say, that's my theory. And it's a different. Actually, if you look at Maxwell's theories, he used luminescence ether was actually bells and balls and springs and things, which was his model. And well, that's how it was then. It's all mechanical then. Later on, we did Maxwell's equations in the abstract, which were, well, I was poisoned when I did. They didn't want me to understand them. No idea why. And I think I wrote a thesis before, which I didn't understand, which involved square, operator square, which is four-dimensional. And I can't remember what that was now. I think the Maxwell's equations have to square to the power 2 so it equals 0. But I think that was my contribution before they took up my brain and poisoned me. No idea why I should do that. So they just thought I was mad. which is understandable too. And you can't connect these together like that because can't connect these two ends. Can't connect these ends together because there's no current flowing in one. That was making a resonance circuit. You've got to drive it separately, and so that's the problem. It's a driver. You've got to get them in the same phase. So they have to do that. So you'd have an oscillator somewhere driving two amplifiers, one for high voltage, one for high current, and well, you'd only get a couple of amps in there. And the force will be quite small, but actually magnetic electromagnetic forces are actually quite large, and so if these you can't put much loss on this cardboard, which you probably get 10,000 watts across there without arcing, and obviously you won't go through the insulation, but perhaps 5,000 watts, so you get quite a big field there. I suppose did all these calculations when I was at university, and the magnetic fields go. When I was forced to go to work, I couldn't do this. I was made to do washing up and all sorts of tedious, and I've done it. And they still want to do this. They want to punish me. They punish me because people basically lied. Well, they didn't know I was, I don't think, because they haven't seen me for some time. But I was, they poisoned me to make me look old, which is, I was old, but it's nonsense to me. It's a really disappointing thing to do, to come all this way, work for 50 years and then told to work another 50 years. That's what Britain is, and they take away your pension, and that's what they do. And there's something wrong with them. They must know what they're doing. They say behind that gives this psychopath, a psychiatrist, the idea that people lie about their age to get a pension. And because he met me on road, I tell him that's what he thought. He made it up, and he didn't believe I was 56 or 57 or 60. So he didn't believe it because I look young, and that's what happened. And the doctors always do things from their medical tests. You look at the record; it's different, and they didn't want it. And the man across the road saw he was getting old, and I wasn't. Well, I thought I was, and I was getting old, and poisoned me anyway. He probably, there was this conspiracy to poison me, make sure I didn't live for a long time. I don't know what's happened to the across the road. His lights are off. But I presume he's in a holiday or something. Pretty bad times. People do, and one of those things. And my life has been ruined by psychiatry because I'm abnormal, because I'm not human. And non-humans are not human. They are different. I think look human, because I've been poisoned. And it's possible that could be reversed by the supervisor. But there's no point doing it, because they poisoned me again. When they made me stupid with these drugs and brain surgery, I couldn't do anything about it, because they'd do it again if I got better. So it'll stay as I was. So psychotic logic. They are. Where do they get the ideas from? They take my brain out. I think they have a right to do that. They have a right to take people's brains out. It's nonsense. They've got some funny ideas in Britain. It's a way of getting rid of somebody. I don't know. I was just intelligent working class, or intelligent working class. So they all laugh at me now. And they're now, people attack me now, black people. That's not because they're black at all. What I used to support was to think, I was to teach. Maybe they don't think I should teach them. They're presumptuous to teach black people. Now you can't do that, teach themselves. And they're nasty, they're vicious lots of black people. And they want us as their slaves. Well, that's understandable, but it's all propaganda. Black power is to make white people their slaves. And, there's not much of them to know any of us left. We're an endangered species now. And then our stuff, I don't hate them. I never have hated them, but I've been learning to. So, horrible. And, they gain confidence and violent killers like they did in South Africa. And there's not much I can do about it. And the people, some time ago, people who I knew wrote letters, appeared to come from me. And black people are not nice people because I've been friends with black people quite a long time. It's normal. In America, it's quite normal. That's no difference at all, but I really don't understand it. And they just attack me viciously. And my care nurse, I didn't need a care nurse. Obviously, it's a wreck like life, and I think he's died now. He's gone. And they got some idea whether one of these scum was Perseverance scum. She was superior. And she said, how can a beautiful woman like me get old and die? Well, most people know they will. Children don't, but most people her age, because my what she was, she would. And people say these people are actually quite young people say, I'm a highly paid professional. Well, maybe you are, but they do you in. And they reckon my result with my relationship with my wife. She's actually, I didn't know my wife was a thief and a murderer, but I didn't know that. But she was, for me, she was a nice person. And I was trying to teach them last week. They don't know, they got this idea that some people think you can. Well, you can. And if we show was there were a friend like that kindness, they don't always take advantage of you. But she wanted to revenge for what people did to her, what they did to her. And I sympathised. I mean, I wouldn't do it myself. I was so badly treated too. I've been able to get my own back, you know, because it's against the law. And I can't do anything with the law because the people are above the law. It's a vicious place. And the world is like that. It's even in Egypt, there was you read about it. The people in power were in power. That's what it was. And they exploited the situation. You don't get, well, you do get good officials, and some bad officials in Russia too. But basically, that's it. And I'm pretty upset about this poison they used to me. I didn't realise. They said it's going to spread to terrible illness. Well, I know probably when it just went into the working class. But they decided to poison me. So, I'll tell the dogs. They lost a friend. That's what they've done, lost a friend. And I just hope these scum get wiped out, burned alive, all they care about us. And they're just murderers as well. I don't know. It appears to be the whole of Britain, basically. And well, they all act together, you know. They call themselves the West. But in America, they don't think Britain is a Western country, you know. Nobody knows heard of nobody in America's never heard of London. Well, it's down there on the map. You can find this in London, America. So, and the culture. So, I mean, in America, people can do their own thing and make a business of some sort, quite low level, and they're happy. And there's plenty of money to do it. In this country, you can't. Workers and people classified as workers can't, and the aristocracy are the only people who can do it. So that's bad it is. And they can make you an honorary Norman. I just want to get out of this lunatic asylum. Britain's a lunatic asylum, it really is. And if we go in, they catch the brain out, they can go work. Simple. And that's how that's what evil they are. And we can't do about it. Well, I'd like a liberation army come and liberate the workers because that's what they deserve. And these pigs in power, they beheaded, killed, burned alive, everything. Terrible people. And you see, the way this country, the rich people are actually quite close to poor people. So it's not just rich and poor, really, because workers are quite well off now. It just makes a difference, but you can't be free. So the point is, workers are not free. And quite a lot of them are brain damaged. I don't know how many depends on the grade. You know, they have this grading system, which is not plastering, and what your education is, and basically you have to self-classify yourself. And so it's a pretty rotten system. Previously the aristocracy would classify you, but I regard myself as highborn and because of education. I've got 3 degrees, the PhD at one time, and they didn't kill me down. And then one time I was attacked when I got a degree because workers shouldn't have degrees. Several times, I mean just once. And apparently Rusty was never squire to attack me. And there's no reason for it. I tried to be friendly with him, and he attacks them. Workers, you know, slaves. And they've always been like that ever since Nelson. Even Nelson realised that free men were better than slaves. Nelson saw that. He was embarrassed of that or something like that. He realised that press men weren't very good at working, and they ran away. You see, in King's University, the technicians were bonded labour, they sort of ran away. And I regarded myself as voluntary, so I didn't. And they ran away and not work and everything. So that's a difference. A free man doesn't do that. A slave does. And that's the problem. With Rome, the same thing happened. They had to severely injure slaves. They didn't do anything, they died. So they got this Baptist church. They got a sad, mad idea of having slaves. But slavery does not work. It does work for a while, but even the British system, they found that giving workers money and letting them do things and having their own lives was much more successful. You know, you have two lives. You have your slave worker work, and you have money to go home and enjoy that. But they have the workers' place, but in America it's a different place, different altogether. And these people don't. I've been to America, I've been there, but it's different. You have problems, you have a couple to kill somebody, but it's much different. Much different. I mean, it's one of those things. The factory system has rectified, so it's been going on since Roman times, but and domestic slaves. They've got in this country got domestic slaves. They want domestic servants like they had in the 19th century. And if some people think very cruel people, if people are cruel, evil people got something wrong with their brains, think it's nice to have a slave. And most people don't like it. They think they're being well treated, but they're not. They're slaves at all. They rape them, they beat them, and that's it. And they really can't do about it because you appeal to the aristocracy to help, but they don't care because they have lots of slaves. That's what it is. Well, actually, in my position, I'm actually in a big house which is typical of a junior aristocrat. So that's how it works now. And what they say is if you've got investment in it, then they don't want me. And so I don't know what's happened, but I did inherit some ocean stolen from me, and I just don't want to have any money. And it's because I didn't actually sympathise with Hitler. As far as I know, he had a war, and I don't remember much about him. I didn't know anything about him. Even the soldiers in Hitler's Germany hardly knew what was going on, And so that it was children do anything, do what they told them. They don't have any choice. They don't know anything. So what people did as children, they can't be blamed for. But it was a bad place. And even when I went there in 1954, the Jewish children were still being rounded up by the Americans and put to school. And they were terrified. They were sick, when they tried to go in their lands because they thought they'd be gassed. And because I had a service involvement, they come to me about it. And they point out somebody who'd hurt Jews or their friends, and I'd shoot them. And that's the retribution. That's what Edith was doing. And so I sympathised. And she was a retribution because the people had attacked her. So unless she sympathised with that. And the Christians didn't really devils. They really are devils. They're awful people. They've gone, for one time they just sung hymns and special. They're going killing people. And like ISIS, they've got the idea from ISIS. Let's do a beheading. And have beheadings on, they're going to have beheadings on television now. That's the idea. So that's bad. So civilization is broken down because it started, I think it started in the Baptist church, actually, the Klan. They seem to be tearing civilization now. I think the Pope has got the same idea. That the people worship technology rather than God. It actually means that he gets less money for his banquets and what he does, his golden palaces, and they cost a lot of money. And they say, they've got a church, it's very expensive, they give money for it. Well, that's what it is. The building, the church is actually not a building. The building where the church is called a basilica, it's his castle, which is basilica, and the church's buildings are castles. You have been there, I've seen people killed there, and they have lessons how to kill people. And they think they're not doing it, but they are. They know what they do, murder a group. And it's very unpleasant. So, so it's gone bad. The world's gone rotten again. It's Britain that's gone rotten. That's just, in the German time, Hitler started with some good ideas. Apparently, he wanted to be the best for everybody. He had good ideas, and they didn't like it. And because the rich people didn't like it very much, and that's how it was. And the Jews wouldn't cooperate, so I didn't agree with that. Anyway, Mother told them actually. They had this wonderful idea of working for nothing. Mother, when she was a child, had no shoes. And then she gets promoted to be Chancellor, Vice Chancellor's wife, Germany, Chancellor's wife, Germany, and head of state, actually. So she had a good time. And when I was I wasn't catching my mother there, as a different person. I was enjoying life in Hitler's Germany too. And we had all a good job. It was doing quite well until Britain came and smashed it all up. We had Zeppelin flights across the Atlantic that went over the North Pole, and they came across Shanklin and Ventnor, and I think they had these pylons where they stopped. And I remember being, I went to New York, and because the Zeppelin engines, when it got to America, I can't remember that, but I think I don't know, 250 Deutschmarks, I think it was, which was well, I don't know what the money was then. But when we And because the engines were worn out when we got there, I had to. Then we came back on the Cutty Sark, which was a tea clipper with passengers, still in use. So, very unpleasant, but there it is. So that was my life, and it was totally different these days. It's even worse. And of course I got older. And they poisoned me to make sure. Well, a few years ago I wasn't old. And they laugh at me now. Oh, we poisoned you. Clever. I didn't know I'd been poisoned. And they say you weren't that old. But it's serious. I've been here in this house since 1962. And the people who come here don't even know I am. They probably weren't born then. So that's how it is. And they poisoned me because I wasn't old. But if you see a psychiatrist coming, chop his head off, because that's what he is, a murderer. And that's what they do. They do get rid of criminals very nastily. And they accused me of something. They got me framed for something which they wanted to do it. They wouldn't get me somehow. And so I could be dealt with. But I actually retired when I was 56, which was the age you can retire. I mean, that firm had that system then. And you could never retire any time as real, but 56, you get an escalating pension. Well, I might stop it. Any time they can just stop it, just like signing a form, can't they? So then the poor work has to go back to, well, maybe the country's bankrupt. I don't know, well, they're bankrupt. They went to war with Afghanistan, which is ruinous. War is always ruinous for anybody. And they think everyone will support them. Well, the country they attacked was just another country. I mean, it was a savage country. And the attackers on New York were originally reporting in Afghanistan, but they're actually from here, from around here. They're actually young men, Muslims who I knew at the King's University, and they just decided to join the Taliban in Afghanistan. Got forged passports and stuff to pretend they became from Afghanistan and went over there to fight the Russians actually. And when they came back, they decided to attack America. And it was their idea. It was planned in my office. I wasn't involved with the planning, but I could hear it. And I tried to warn people, but they took no notice. I even got a letter from Bin Laden explaining what it was all about. I didn't want it. I gave it to people. They just laughed at me. You printed this yourself, didn't you? That's psychiatry. They're idiots. And if they'd not done that, that could have been prevented. The war wouldn't have happened. I think the people who saw that letter and knew about the attack wanted it to happen to enable Britain to go to war with Afghanistan with Americans. So I think that was the idea. It was not quite a false flag operation, but like that. And I do know that the attack on Pearl Harbor, apparently by Japanese, actually by British officers who were, well, that's what it was. And they wanted to bring America into war on the British side. And the other thing they did was shell the east coast of America with German U-boats in order to get America to attack Europe, to attack Hitler. And well, I don't know. And it appears, I don't know what the reason for it was, it appears to be something to do with aliens, and of course the British don't believe in aliens because they think they're awful, they don't like it, and the reason is that they weren't using so much petrol as they should be, so coal, so because these engines get produced, apparently, robbed of that income. So they actually wanted, it was actually, they went to war about oil really. I think the war in the recent wars in Africa, the war was about petrol really and resources. I don't say that, but that's what it is. They say other things. But in Islam, there's actually a story of survival. It's not really religion at all anymore. Well, Christianity about going to heaven when you die. And that's a lie. They don't get you to work. You want people to work to go to heaven when they die. When they don't, they just die. So that's the trouble. So when they get old and die, they can't go back until their friends know they've been deceived. So that's what the priest told me that. They did tell it. I didn't like it. So it's pretty awful. So the actual reality is very unpleasant. And well, I'll go into it. So, I've got some idea what reality is, and it's horrible. The snow over it all really. It's very unpleasant. And you die, especially forever. And it's normal for us to spread out. Well, you look at it in the history of geology, all the animals died. And well, some of the species are still alive. Maybe you don't see dinosaurs in England, but they might be in Indonesia. Depends on people. And when I was in this war, they had chicken dinosaurs, actually, the size of a chicken and feathered, but they had claws instead of wings, and they easy to pick berries and things, pick them, and they were used to the natives used to eat them. And they taste like chicken, quite nice. Dinosaurs, quite nice, and so, with their beaks. So, and yeah, other dinosaurs, which the dinosaur is terrible, isn't it? And some of them were just with us, basically. And that's what it is. So I know it's still there. So, and the other thing I saw when I was in the Pacific in this warship, then I went over the equator, they did all this sort of stuff. And when we got to this island, which was not inhabited, it was quite a nice island, sort of green bird and pasture and somewhere stuff there. And when we were on shore, and I was taking photographs, of course, and I walked along, it was black and white, I can't remember what it was now, and I come across this bay, a beach, with all these mermaids and mermen having sex, you know, and they do it on land, you see, so that's interesting. And they had babies on legs, you know, which actually did have stumpy legs, well they weren't formed properly, or flappers, formed into the tail later on in life, and so that's the truth about mermaids. And the church doesn't like it, and well, anyway, they're not miserable, are they? And I usually sometimes they say they're performing for us. They just a joke, because they're human beings like us, and they eat us, especially we're just meat. And I did have, I think somebody found one in netting there's a family of them netting in Portsea, where is it? Brighton Marina, and they'd gone into there because the sonar the neighbour Chester was driving them in, saying they went out into the marina to protect them. And they were netting and they were caught. And this bloke, I don't know if he was a military man, brought one of them to me. He must be drugged, and it was a mermaid, and I think we called it Homo piscis sapiens, which is what the American discoverer thought was there. Well, they invented him, but he actually, he got up and he was sitting in my downstairs chair, and he wasn't happy. He was shocked, totally shocked. He was never seen out before. And so I gave him a fish, frozen fish, lovely. He likes frozen fish. And I took it. This army went away, and I left with this creature, which was extremely dangerous, actually. You know, the mermaids have knives, which they have a skirt around it, a knife in it. They don't make it when it's made. It's quite a nasty thing, probably fish bone, but so they have culture. And well, he wanted food. He came to the kitchen, and he wanted food, so I gave him some more frozen fish, which he liked those. And he went upstairs, and just here, and went into the bathroom. I went to go to the bathroom, and he got in the bathroom. I put a shower in him. It wasn't mine. It was mine. There was no memory gas. No. The actual genitals were inside in the slit side, so it's covered over my skirt and skirt on. And he sat there and he liked it tepid, you know, not messing around the bath, every time. And so eventually, I think when the army came back, they started to shoot him when I said don't shoot him. And but he had this really shit, he had a more pronounced one, and it was able to send a beam of energy out, beam of sound. And you could hear it, it's a warbling sound, and it's so powerful that it can knock a man down. And so I used that to disable the soldier, but I think he got his gun and shot him. So the mermaids aren't stupid, they can use a gun. And this warbling noise really hit me. I could see lights and colours as well as the sound. So it's quite common in all of them. I must have something left on my vestigial program. And I think this ridge actually became more prominent at the point. It's called the third eye. And the mermaid, the army escaped and went away. And the mermaid then ran, he got it, he stood downstairs. He can't walk, you see, with his tail. He goes on around, putting himself on his arm. And he went out the back door, and he was quite nasty. So, I showed him the tap at the back because get water. So, that's how it was. Went to the garden. And later on, they came and collected him, and and sometime later a van came in, and London Zoo on it, and all these mermaids got out. He was driving the mermaid that must have got over the garden and driven it in. So the driver mad, he must have known where it was. How good. Maybe GPS on it perhaps. And he had children and his wife so came in here. They was out their gun. And they stayed there. And they must have hunted, they had a gun, so they were hunting. And foxes were terrified. And well, I was terrified because they banged on the back door and want to eat me. So that's not a good idea. So I don't think anybody, I don't know whether any people were eaten, but they certainly took all the local gerbils and rats and dogs and things that travel with it. So that's what it is. So I don't know whether any people were missing, I've no idea. So that was very confusing because they kept poisoning with drugs, which, because they couldn't believe me, they quite understandable. And so it's a species called Homo sapiens, Homo frisco. So Homo is man, frisco is fish, and sapiens is wise. So they actually can't tell, sort of wise fish. They use a gun. Well, we have these stories about them, but they must have known. So it's just a joke. Some things are a joke. It isn't. It's a competing species, and because of the pollution in the water, they don't like being in the sea anymore. So some of them are colonising the land again. And just happened, you read geology history, it's full of stories like that. And it was one of the seas doesn't kind of come. The Navy's putting bombers in and shooting each other and sonar and they don't like it. It's radioactivity, it's poison with everything. It's separate poison stuff. So they come out and they probably live in England, and they also keep it out of sight. And every now and then somebody wants to eat a nice fish and eat it and get shocked. So we've got a shock, so it's a surprise. And so it's not a happy situation. They eat us, we eat us. So we could be mermaids' dinner. I think that's a joke, but mermaids, they're both sexes, and I don't know how they have sex with Russia some as we do, but the organs are hidden, I think, somewhere. It's not quite the same as us. And that's the difference. I really don't understand it. They did make a ridicule of me in this country. I don't know why, but I didn't understand it because I was in the space program. In this country, space doesn't exist. You can't go through it. No such thing as space. So it's really good. So that's what it was. America, quite normal. So that's the difference. America's totally different. And this country's back in the 12th century. It's dreadful. Outside. I mean, they've got cars and they know they're aeroplanes. But that's about it. And the joke is, I saw I saw France, I thought of going there. People do. It is possible to go to France, but it's extremely difficult. Mostly French people go to France, and they come over and they go back. But it is possible to go to France, but it's very difficult. You've got to be able to go through without stopping you. And they do stop people. I think there was some problem with sex maniacs in France, and they didn't want anybody to go there in case they got killed. Go camping, can't go camping. Well, I was able to go there because I don't know. So you must have a hotel room. And, but the French were the same as here. I think in France you've got to have €100 to be legal. You've got to show if you stop at the police, you've got to show €100. So if you can't have bank cards, you can't have credit cards, because it doesn't count. You've got to have cash. And it's not a problem. And because my company's controlled, as soon as I leave the country, they stop my money, which means I get there, I've got no money. One withdrawal is enough to tell these scum who got me under control that I left the country. I don't like it, I'm not allowed to. And that's how bad it is. So I can't do much about it because they got me. And they cut my money down to stop me doing anything. I was getting quite good money on the time. And they're not nice people. I don't know why I'm being treated like this. They got me on a murder charge now. And I've just been told that they went to the dentist and they started doing forensic tests because they couldn't get hold of me. And apparently this person was murdered in butts or whatever or something. And I went on to see the report, but none of the points matched. I'm not the same. And also the blood test didn't match. And saliva test didn't match. So no match. That's the same, all the murders. So even the ones that took place when I was put in prison, 1962, and I was never kept there because they realised I was all right. There we go. And this is like that. The government account people let people go, even when I've actually been taking this all the time, and they let me go. And this thing makes people think I'm a criminal. I'm not. It's been put there. It's a scar. Some people think in the medical textbook, people with a natural scar like that, because it's actually up by side bifida, the brain falls out, and it can cause psychological problems. But mostly it doesn't. Well, it does, but I don't know. And it does. The process for our brain causes psychopath, causes psychopath, it's all sorts of things, but always. And when in the hospitals they damage that part of the brain, turn people into psychopaths, turn them into criminals. So it's not such they don't treat people and make them ill, and they scar people all over the place. But this injury, they've made the people who did it have drilled a hole, but it misses the brain. It doesn't go into the cranium, it goes through the jaw, and the dentist came and checked it. He saw it sort of like that, and he could see exactly what it was, and he would put a report. So they did that. And according to their law, somebody has this brain damage, take a brain out, and that's the cure for having a scar on the face. But I don't know. And this is a razor slash, or an axe for the fracture. It's awful, and it's no really. Well, I don't know why the reason was. It's probably because they thought it was sickness, someone's child or something. But my mother probably. I don't know what happened was because it may have been. So the British aristocracy holds the workers down as prisoners. And it goes back to the Norman time, the Norman conquest. I can't do anything about it. And they say it could make you an honorary Mormon, just to promote you. But you want me to be a criminal or two, but that's what it is. And they said, join us. I think join us have a swanky car, also millions of pounds. But, it's nice to have a car. I was actually offered a given a car by the royal family. It was actually quite a nice car, but I couldn't drive it because I couldn't understand the power steering idea that worked, so I couldn't drive it. But I didn't actually want it. That's the thing. Very nice car. I didn't know. Anyway, but I did have a car for a long time. But give it up now. I wish I hadn't. I sure wish I'd never had a car because it cost so much money. I was much better off without a car. And go by train. If you go on a train, if all rich people go by train, all the plebs go by car. So that's even a shopping difference. So most of these plebs who think they're rich go around sweating in car parks, and traffic jams, but actually the life of us. The rich people go by train. It's slightly more expensive to go by train, but not much. And of course, first class is a lot, 3 times the price. And when I went the other day, I went down to quite a short distance. And the first class upgrade is not that high. And because it was a crowded train, I upgraded my ticket. I did a retrospection because you can't do that. You have to pay. And I was able to travel first class there and back. And I upgraded it, paid it. And I wasn't that bad dressed. I don't know what I was doing in there, because so it is in Britain. And I had to explain to the person on the train that I was actually quite ill. So there was nowhere sitting. And I think really that should apply to any cripple, any sick person. They should have areas for sick people who need to sit down. It's quite difficult to enforce, but it's a pretty rough and tough one. Still hurts sometimes, and not others. But it's much more civilised to go by train. And aeroplanes are quite uncivilised because they're all crowded together. And because when chasing out you can't chase it in an aeroplane. But it was awful. But what else we were was all the evil things, So they put the good people in the hospital, the evil people at the top. And they also say the good die young, So that's all in the Bible, apparently. The Bible's actually quite a good book to read this. We've got a lot of time to read it. It's a sad world, and you die, basically. And there's nothing. That's it. And we all face that. And these people fight over it. They fight over all sorts of different ways of staying alive while you're dead. It's absolutely awful. And some of them think that people who don't think that a woman should be killed anyway, because they're already dead. But that's not psychological, is it? And this religion is an evil thing, and it's often the cause of death. And if the sun eventually explodes in a nebula, as a planetary nebula, which it will, because it's in that range, and the people who are all fried, the cause of death of a religion, because they could have got off. But instead of with starships, they could have built warships, and that was more important. So risen was the cause of death, and there's really, I mean, you can't think about it. I can't tell when this will happen, but if you look at the curve of temperature in the last, I think, 6,000, 7,000 years, you'll see that it varies drastically, and the amplitude is getting bigger, and the cycle is actually the right frequency for the star it is. This is an exploding star, but it starts with a random event which causes a flash. It's actually a sound wave in the star after the astrophysics course, and as it progresses, it gets bigger and bigger. And I'm not quite sure how many oscillators. I think there was 3 or 4, wasn't many. And there is now 6,000 years. I'm not quite sure how many. You watch the history of the temperatures. It's temperature, not the solar flux. The temperature goes up and down, and that's so it is. Eventually, a few years in 1989, we had this blast from the sun around solar flare, shot us sort of bit, and it will, if it hit us, we will wiped out. And it just, I couldn't do about it. Forget it. Well, that's the stage that shows that the sun is helium burning. But the sun started helium burn about 7,000 years ago. That was observed in our planet and stars. And Hubbard's wrote a book. Of course, the crystal can scrambled it all. Didn't like it. But that's what it says. The Earth is the Earth's sun is technically in a flare scar, and therefore it will blow up, and it's on a stage of helium burning, and that's going on for some time, and that will cause the death of the sun. And most astrophysics know that, and we can't. The original thing is to leave the planet, because some people say you build tunnels and caves and things. It won't take many people, but that will preserve life. But it'll take away the atmosphere, and it won't reform because it will be blown away by the wind. So it's pretty awful. And not everything will be killed, so it'll be difficult to survive. And so that's that's the terrible news. And of course, people die anyway all the time, so it makes no difference. So most astronauts say, hope it doesn't happen in my lifetime. And that makes it very sad. You think of the huge universe, and I'm just so insignificant, and that's it. So these people believe God think they're important, and they do. They go around, oh, important. So they're not. They're just worms like the rest of us, and we die. And when the sun explodes, which is actually, I don't think it's got a gentle effect. It's actually gives off a sphere of gas. When it blew off this sun rays, it wasn't symmetrical. It probably isn't symmetrical anyway. But when there's immunity, you get these spheres of gas being blown off, and there are planets still there, but there's nothing there for them. Well, we don't know because we haven't discovered our planets yet, but it probably is there. And if that was here, I'll tell the story that we go to a place, we find there's just charred remains, but it was a civilization. But they didn't pass this galactic intelligence test, which means you've got to be clever enough to leave the planet before it explodes. And so many people hate that. They smash it up. They will probably, it's more likely they want a seat on the starship themselves. That's reasonable. The original idea that was explained to a contactee who was apparently beheaded over it was that they would give, they had enough means of transport to get everybody off, and then assembly areas to pick up one. Well, she probably got a web, so they murdered her. See, that's the sort of thing humans do. They're not sensible. And it's like there's other ones like that. If you get a dam, if somebody's building a dam, the place gets flooded, and some people take animals off the area. Others don't want to go, do they? Oh, yeah, that's what prisons are like. So, well, if you've got a truck right, you can go on, smash it, can't do it. So, and then they go for war. If you've got one of these guys, they shoot it up, wouldn't they? They always tell things, so they said, alien spaceship is blown up. So that's what it is. And so it's pretty bad. It is bad, and really I can't do anything about it. And I feel sick, because we did try to contact the human race to save their existence. And the contacts have been going on for a long time. And all the people who have been contacted and all the missionaries have all been murdered. So That's the one they're proud of that. I don't understand. It's a week of the bad news, you know, but I'm away now, so can't ask them. They'll probably kill me for this. You know, they're so angry. You know, the folk tells will live forever, and they're not going to. He's dying. I feel cheated. You know, cheated. They do understand it. I feel cheated on I thought of boy one. That's why they keep all these lies. So they go to work and they don't get anything right. They go home. And you know, these days they're favourable. That doesn't work because what's the point? What's the point of all of it? Just die. Can't do what you want to do. Just it's also awful. Nobody wants to do that. If you worked for something you're interested in, didn't you? It's all work. Well, I made this. It's work. It's work making it. In fact, no, it's work. It's not worth anything perhaps, but it's work. Whereas in a factory, you just produce things you're not interested in. And basically, factory work could be done by a whole thing will be recognised. And it will be. They want to do with the people. Now, the people in power already do, right? It's killer. And that's what's happening. They chop their brains out and they die afterwards. And, well, it's sadness, isn't it? And of course, death approaches all of us, and they poison me, so I've got a goal anyway. And it's science, it's psychotic logic, you know. You poison me, there's no sense in it. So it's irreversible, so they laugh at me. I poisoned it, clever. It's pretty sick. I had no idea I was differently else, basically, but it is. And they thought I was lying. I think Howard made that up. I messed up on, I think it was no fun. I messed him wrong. He murdered Annie in front of me. He was willing to actually murder her. So that is, so you must hate people. So misanthrope. He was a psychopath who wanted to kill everybody, basically. And that's the sound of a psychiatrist. It's just a murderer. That's what a psychiatrist is, a murderer. I couldn't do it. I got trapped and couldn't escape. And I tried to escape. They went all the way hungry to get me back. All the way. They probably thought they were doing some good, but I nearly died. And they don't care. It's just a laugh. And those hungry's now gone lost. Sad world. And so, and if they could block my fresh up, they would. And we can't help you. I wouldn't that. There are people being honest fresh up, and they're traitors, aren't they? But they're actually quite good people. And that's what it is. And so we can't do anything at all. Nothing. People have a good time, don't like it, let's go. I think Edith came over here, so came back from Vienna where she was working, and wherever it was. And she in fact she would have let me, I didn't know. But I was out, no, she was there. And they well, they wanted to murder her, didn't they? But she was a good time. She had a good time when she was in Germany. It was so unknown. How sad it is. You know, the interaction was a boy who was happy, so he poured petrol over it, set fire to him. He's happy, why is he happy? That's sad. I was happy too, they starved me. I was happy in the illness. And they think, the other thing they think of illness, but I think anyway, that is better. I think it's all in there. And, I know, of course, old people always have to write this with old people. And, well, I can't correct young people. They think, oh, well, I'm in charge. I'm a professional, you know. So they threw out my wife and I got nobody now. And they were told we'd have a wife because they would notice if I was pregnant, wouldn't they? So they'd know how I used to be. They don't want that. I know why they want to kill me. I don't know. And sad, really. And they even had a very complicated process of getting a file on the computer that made it look as if I was 10% malicious emails. And they searched all else to find it. It's not there because it was never sent. And that's how bad it is. And they're nasty lot. Really, the people in power are really nasty people. And unfortunately, they're there forever. They're entrenched with power. They don't get. They know what they look like, and they dress and horrible people. And you can't do about it. It's psychiatric cases, especially murderers. I mean, we're not workers, they're just downtrodden, downtrodden. Anyway, I think they're coming tomorrow. Whether they'll kill me, I don't know. But I think they want me to go to work because I'm only thirsty. Well, don't worry, I age I look. I look the same as I did, and I haven't gone on. And it's sickening going back to work after all this time. They're very disappointing. They think they're doing justice because I retired a little bit early because I was ill and I was ill. And also they found out the Boston mass murder when we worked for him again. And that's it. Worked for a mass murderer. Well, he's probably older now, but he's a sucker. And we can't do about it. I don't think I could be able to do much. But we're very unwilling, so there we go. And they chop his brain out and kill him as a slave. But they're not very, these people with their brain chopped out are not intelligent. They can do some things. And that's what Margaret's my murdering cousin, so-called cousin, isn't my cousin, but she said people with no brains weren't got good draftsmen. And they don't know what they're drawing, that's it. So that's Britain. They're brainless people. Awful place. So come on and wipe out Britain. For God's sake, get rid of them. They're mad. Before they kill everybody. They wanted to kill everybody on the planet and more slaves. So, wipe out Britain. Everybody. Not just the only people that survive are ordinary people. I know one time because they're really dead. I've got no means of doing it. I've got no missiles. Nothing at all. But Britain's a horrible slave state. It really is awful. And they pay you so, but if you're Debbie, this woman they admire, whose brain was chopped out by scum, Jeff Edwards, just for a joke, and he talked about it. Oh, she's wicked. Oh, murderer. I don't know why they do that sort of thing. Chop somebody's brain out. No reason, no, just for a joke. And to her, she was just flesh, you know. So she had sex with her and the Lord's body. And that's what happens in church, you know. They're sexually unconscious women. It's absolutely awful. And the black people, gee, would you like a little otherwise girl favour? Unfortunately, that's what happens here. It's unpleasant. They say you're unpleasant, but it's the evil. Evil is who evil thinks, you know. They are evil men. And the police are what they think, but they're fully familiar with all the terrible things people do. Well, the church is the most evil people on earth. And that's what they do. And Bernard Trails are using it to make people better at production line work. Well, they're no good at it anyway, because they can't go home, can't go away. And I've seen people in training, and they think it's a wonderful treatment, and they don't get killed after. I was running water up there, I think it was upstairs, full of women who are all naked, being trained to dance and whatever, or moving about. And the idea that they get to have a brain out. So they were slaves, ladies for instance. And that's Britain. It's absolutely awful. They could do it to me just any time, but it depends whether they use my brain or not. And that's what Britain is. Slave state run by and for the aristocracy. And well, you don't get anywhere. If you're a foreigner that comes here, they think it's a wonderful place. And you see these people wandering about, going to be doing a lucky task. They're all dead. And it's bad. It's very bad. They're going to take my freedom away and make me a slave, and I think Kim wanted that. He didn't like it because he was free. He didn't like me to be free. So, that's bad. He made money by malicious prosecution. I'm just another of his victims. And, so most of a socialist, well, I mean, a socialist thinks everybody should have that same freedom. So they're not special. But it looks as if my money will be taken from me, and I'll be enslaved, and I won't be happy. You know, there's a song I read a while ago about the digger road, the road labourer who was forced to work digging the road. He wasn't happy. He was quite strong and so on. And this bloke came up to him and told him to put the hole somewhere else. So he put him in the hole and buried him. That's the attitude. And so they think it was terrible. Well, they're better than workers, aren't they? I think they made Tesla look at the road too. And it's a very bad one. Remember, the boat hat's very dangerous. Very dangerous like boat hat. Trilby is quite dangerous. It's awful. I could wear a trilby. No, very dangerous. There's uniforms. You can't buy them, but you can't wear. not necessarily the right thing. So, and it's awful, really an awful place. And, I don't wish it not kept it. Now, when I was about 3, I started a second hand stuff. Because no second hand stuff, it's all hand stuff. But I did actually find, although I did it at the university, I started quite interested because I told about it. And he was, he appears to have made some errors which he knew about. He deliberately very massively just did the same thing. And I can't know about it. So if you try to find one of those people wrong, they push it in the gastro. Can't be wrong. The idea that God reveals himself to people, so you can't go back. But in fact, in maths and science, it's not like that. There's people come up with something, what's right, they will try and find it. Usually, the science is just for his own science is just for it. But Einstein, with his special theory, I mean, I don't know much about what he did, but I don't know what he did. I wonder where he did it. He knew, I don't know when he did writing sexual physics or that. But they accused me of calling one of these sexual, a robot. I can see one. I don't know, one diagram maybe, so I don't know, never seen it. Anyway, that's one of those things, that's evil. And they just want to degrade people and sneer. Sneer, you can see them, it's like foxes. When the foxes are on the walls, they can got their prey, they can drown the way they make this expression, sneer, so it's a man's the same. He got you, he'll eat you. So that's what it is. So we're no different from the wolves. And they do it with these wolves, that the actual behaviour is similar, and they have the same expressions, and it's not nice. I don't like this. No, bullies, the people in power, bullies. If when you get a boss, he's usually a big man, he's a bully, and he has he's got everywhere by bullying. So I don't bad. He's sometimes bully, sometimes not. It's a very unpleasant place, this West, but it's so everywhere else. But in Russia there wasn't a chance to improve things. It was better. Communism was a better place. I mean, they always riches to have. Well, you've tried to got both, but very well, very well. And they know how to damage brains, all sorts of things, and it's an unpleasant place to live. They think they have God's rights rule, but it's all made up. Divine right. It's not true. Nobody's divine anybody else. And I was told I would probably pay Kim Pound to attack me. Planned in advance for years. I really don't understand. I'm just a harvest on there and somebody to pick up. No reason at all. I don't know. So I can't do anything. And I'll be dead soon anyway. I was hoping to see the end of Christianity because it's such a devil, that's a lie. But it's a dirty lie, really. You know, you work for your life, that's not true. And your pension, well, most people don't get pensions, honestly. And but I'm pretty, because, you know, well, I don't know, most people die soon after they have their pension, and that's what I did. I died of retirement at 56 and died at 57. Who am I then? So I don't understand that. Maybe a resurrection, I don't know what's happened, maybe another transplant. I don't know what happened. So, but they would have a record. And it's not nice being forced to go back to work, because I'm probably die quite soon. They don't care. Laugh at you, kick you down. And so I mean, the winter man said, "You're older now." I said, "It's true. You're poisoned, but I will go on anyway." And this is true, really. I don't understand. Why should they poison me? And they could go. They'll kick you to death then. When you're down the floor, kick you to death. That's Britain. I was over here. Irish Shelters. Irish Shelters. There we are. Yeah, in paradise, when you go to Springfield, this death camp, people go in paradise and fear. And that's what it is. And I don't really understand doctors. They're murderers. People, these people traffickers are terrible killers. They don't give a damn about people. I think that's what the Wimpy man is a people trafficker. Well, the whole lot of them are. They're just making money out of human flesh. And a lot of people in Britain, they trade human flesh. And that is. The Wimpy contains people who do that. And they're murderers. Fortunately, I don't know what they do eat it. They made her suffer. And they dragged her on behind a car, apparently. And she got very badly cut. And then they put dirt in her eyes. Well, there's no sense in that. Well, also, you've got to be murdered after that, I don't know. But I know, because they said she knew what they were sexually against. Who tragedy in women. And, well, she came to the wrong place. She came to England, she was a ball. And she was a ball. And people who come here and learn. And, it's a bad way. So Britain is still a nice place. And they just think it's a joke. Because they know what I'm doing. They can watch TV, they can watch this, and they can watch my emails. You know, but it's not nice. And, I've got no means left to anything but Christianity and I really not. It's the sad one. Yeah, I mean, it does modify good for a bit. But anyway, let's stop rambling.